board, we learned how to turn the board on and how to do the knobs and the faders and the buttons so we can get sound coming out of the board, right? Now, what if that meter isn't bouncing up and down at all, and you know the problem? Then you know that the problem is how the microphone is hooked up on the stage, right? So there are three main types of cables that are used in audio systems. There are balanced cables, unbalanced cables, and speaker cables. And they're all three different, and all three are not interchangeable, and they will only work for specific applications, right? So let's talk about a speaker cable. The first thing is a speaker cable has a jack. Okay, we got one over here, I believe. Come up here, guys. Let's take a look at this speaker cable. So I'm going to unplug this speaker cable from this monitor. Let's take a look at it. So this has the same connector as like a guitar cable or a keyboard, right? So I mean, that's the same style of plug, right? So it should work with that, right? No, don't use it for that. What a speaker cable is it's even though it has that same input, the cable itself is made with, they put extra metal in there, extra copper, which is the metal going through these cables, so that actual electrical power, lots of it, can be sent through the cable. Now, the only reason why you would use a speaker cable and why it's called that is because you got to send lots of power into this speaker so that you can power the speaker, right? So if you were to use this cable to hook up a guitar or a keyboard, yes, it will make some sound will come out, but because this cable has the extra copper in there, it's made to transmit lots of power. A keyboard just outputs this tiny bit of power, right? And so you got this cable that's waiting for this massive power surge to come through, and you just send this little bit through, and you're going to get all kinds of weird sounds. Like you might get hums, you might get, you know, noise. The signal, it will sound bad, and that's because you are using a speaker cable for an instrument cable application. So basically, how you can tell, well, for your speaker cables, is it's got this really fat round thing at the end, and the cable's a little thicker. So that's a speaker cable. That's one. All right, next thing we'll take a look at is an instrument cable. Let's see if we got one up here. Ah, here we do. So here's an instrument cable. You can see that the end is shaped the same. However, the cable is thinner, and I know it's hard to tell, but it doesn't have that big fat end on it, you know, like the other cable did. So this is an instrument cable. If you look really close here, guys, and if you come in, you can see there's a little black ring on there, right? And all it's doing is it's separating this top portion from this bottom portion here. And what happens when you plug this into a guitar, the sound will get transmitted, the signal for that will get transmitted through this tip. And then the sleeve here, all that is a ground, so that it rejects noise that would come into the channel, right? So there's a tip and a sleeve. That's an instrument cable, right? Okay, we're going to come back to this in a second, but next we're going to go on to a microphone cable. So, obviously everyone knows what a microphone cable looks like. There are three holes in here, right? Now, what does that tell you about the cable? It tells you that there are three distinct electrical lines running through here, right? So if you were to cut this thing open, peel it open, you would see that there's actual three cables running through here. That cable over there, if you were to cut it open, it just had the tip and the sleeve, so there would only be two, right? That's the difference between a microphone cable and an instrument cable. There's an extra line running in through here, which makes the sound balanced, and it rejects noise. I'm not going to go super technical into that. Just, there's a difference.
So that's balanced, and the other one is unbalanced? Is that what you mentioned, those two words?
Right. So if there's only two cables running through the line, it is unbalanced.
Right.
If there are three cables running through the line, it is balanced. We're not going to get into that quite now. We're just gonna help people understand the difference between the cables, right?
I'll hold that thought too.
That's another good one to follow. So, if you're hooking up a monitor to get sound out of it, and you know that the problem is the hookup, you would use a speaker cable. If you're hooking up a bass guitar or an acoustic guitar, you would use an instrument cable, right? If you're hooking up a microphone, you would use a microphone cable. Now, I don't think I want to go into direct boxes, not right now. But just for the people that just want to be able to turn stuff on. So you've got this microphone here, let's say, okay? We've got a microphone cable coming out, and we follow the cable, and we see that it's going into this little box down here, right? So let's see what's going on. All right, I open it up, and we can see that this is the cable that was plugged into this microphone. And it's plugged into this slot, which has a number 11 written under it, right? So let's go find number 11.
Headed down the hose.
Headed down the hose. So what's going on is that box right there, there's a big cable that carries all the channels, and it runs up through here, and it's carrying all of them back to the soundboard, right? So anytime you plug anything into those jacks on the floor there, you're sending it all the way through this long cable here into the soundboard. What was the number again?
11.
All right.
Ow. We're good.
Okay, so now we're back here, and you see we've got all these inputs here, and they're the same. It's well, they're all numbered. And if you look back here, we got a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 right here. Okay, so let's follow the path of that one microphone. We have a microphone. We plug the cable into it. The other end of the cable.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Mom, you're breaking my balls. The other end of the cable is the other end cable is to plug into number 11 on the stage, right? Then that sound travels all the way through the cable, comes to number 11, which is labeled back here, right? Now we got to look at the back, because I've been told by him that you guys are switching around at your leisure, which I would not recommend. I would recommend trying to find a fixed way to do it. Because the more you jack stuff around, you loosen the connections. Eventually, it's just copper wire. It's malleable. It's going to break eventually. So if I look at the back of the board here, and come here and one at a time, and just take a look at the back. Come here and look at number 11, and there's a number for the jack it's plugged in. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Yep, just take a look at the back. So you see how 11 is plugged into 11? Everyone come over here and take a turn. It's something you need to see. Yes.
Oh no.
Hopefully it didn't fry anything.
When what? When it accidentally turned out?
That's fine.
When you get like a box, like a plastic case over it.
So when is it okay to turn that off?
When everything else, when the computer's not. So everyone, did you see how the 11 is plugged into 11? Now sometimes, like we've got so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So from 6 to 22, they're all plugged into the channel that they're numbered, which is great. 1 through 5, I'm not really sure what's going on over here. Some other stuff.
Computer, etc., etc.
Right.
Handheld, wireless mics.
So now I'm going to put together the final piece of the puzzle, and this is for people that just want to know how to get sound going. This is everything you need to know. You've got a microphone on stage. You plug a cable into the microphone, right? And then you pick a jack up on the stage to send the sound through. In our case, we plugged it in number 11. We come back here to the sound booth, make sure it's turned on. We find our cable 11, and I check, okay, it is plugged into number 11. So that we know that that microphone is feeding into channel 11. Next thing we'll do is we'll make sure the gain is up on channel 11. And then it's the same thing we went over before with the kids with the hoses, right? So we'll press select on number 11. We make sure number 11's fader is up. We make sure it has an output assigned. And we should check and make sure the main is up. And if you check all those things, you should have sound.